Hello, everybody, and welcome back to game 2, or rather match 2 of the broadcast day. We've all changed our shirts.
But, like, what is this?
Are you serious?
I just changed.
We went from gray to... How do we all have blue polos?
I even have 2 colors of blue.
You're literally connecting our... You know what? It's okay. It's okay. We'll change shirts for the next one. We'll change shirts for the next one.
No,
let's talk about the games ahead of us. Because we're already a little bit behind due to the pause of the game. We got to get through the day. We got Golden Guardians Challengers up against Cincinnati Fear, a provisional team versus one of the Challengers teams. Let's start with Cincinnati Fear coming in off of, honestly, a pretty good start beatdown. They have come out the gates swinging, and they are already turning heads.
Yeah, and at this point, we have 2 teams up against each other who have had 3-day weekends going on so far. Cincinnati Fear, of course, being one of them at 3-1 at the moment. Another provisional team who is doing a lot of work right now. And this is a team where, again, we just continuously, and especially me, I say how much I like this new system where you have players who aren't necessarily affiliated with LCS teams, Challenger teams, to be able to play at this level. Because you have people on this team, particularly everyone's talking about Faisal, everyone's talking about Perry and Shochi, who should get shots at Academy. And this top side of the map for Cincy Fear is what we're all looking at most of the time.
Yeah, I just have to also talk a little bit more about Perry in the jungle. I know we're talking so much about the different pieces, but getting to hear a little bit from Perry himself, right? The big structure for them, for Fear, is playing as a team. I think we've seen that to some extent in their starting campaign here for NACL, but even if it's a bad play, they want to play as a team. I think that's super important to keep in mind when we're looking at how they play, but also that Perry wants to see himself as a carry jungler. He wants to be the one to carry the game. So that is something to keep in mind when you have the likes of Faisal, who can just carry games in his own right. They have a lot of power, as you were saying, in the top side.
The top half is definitely where the eyes will be focused. Also, I think it's just cool, B-Dun. You said something that I want to dive into a little bit more. This is a team coming in that does not have affiliation with an LCS org. We don't have many of them competing in the Challengers League right now. But more than that, they've doubled down on a brand. Cincinnati Fear. You know, they're trying to get that local city kind of vibe behind their whole brand, their whole identity, which I just think is a cool approach for any of the orgs coming in that are not, you know, like a Team Liquid Faith, or I forget, Fly Fam, CLG Faith, I forget the Team Liquid one.
Team Liquid first.
First, there we go. Why'd they all pick F? But anyway, as we look at Cincinnati Fear and some of their gameplay, we also get to see some of their successful moments from the past weekend.
Yeah, and Cincinnati Fear are a team I think we could be really excited about. The fact that they were able to take a game off Team Liquid Challengers, is a big deal, because this Team Liquid Challengers is another team we're looking at to be, a top contender if you look at this roster top to bottom. But Cincinnati Fear were able to make something happen here. And this is a team, this is proof about how stacked I think the Challengers League is, especially solo lane top side of the map, because Perry is a player, like you were talking about it, Mazel, and I think we really got to build it home that jungle is such a stacked role, because people like Perry and even other players, Keel, for example, don't have spots on Challengers teams, despite being at that level, and at least because of the system they get to play here.
Yeah, I think seeing that really quick, just seeing that kind of development, even though Perry has kind of bounced around now a little bit, right? Like I think that it's still so important to keep an eye on him and his development this year as one of those carry junglers.
The opposition on the Rift today, though, is Golden Guardians Challengers. This will be the Fear's second Challenger opponent. They played against Team Liquid Challenger. We saw in some of the B-roll. But Golden Guardians Challengers coming in with a rougher start to their weekend. They've gone 1-1 against 100 Thieves, and they lost to Tender Love and Care, a.k.a. Team Liquid Challengers. So, as we called them yesterday, the good guy clubs. Mazel, what can you tell me? What are we excited about with this roster?
Obviously, I think you have to look at support and jungle. I'm so excited that Rosethorn as a whole gets another opportunity to prove himself, right? I think he did prove himself, and we were all kind of questioning when he was without a team, and especially now seeing him in that combination with Prismal, who, having heard from him himself, right, he wants to work on his shot calling. He wants to become more of a leader in the mid game, find out strategies that they can execute for Golden Guardians, and that duo, that combo, and that cohesion is going to be super important for this squad.
The player that I've been the most impressed with as well has been actually, you look at this roster, and I immediately look at players like Concept, Rosethorn, and Prismal, but the player that's impressed me the most so far has been Young. The mid laner coming in, rookie player, he had an insane Silas flank play that we showed off yesterday, and in general, he just feels very comfortable compared to a lot of the competition that he's against, or rather, despite the competition that he's against, because mid lane is also pretty tough for rookie players to come in from the amateur level into semi-pro and really be able to hang there. So Beatdown, I mean, when we look at Young, do we have an opinion of ceiling of any potential? Because obviously, we haven't seen too much. We don't want to get overhyped on players, but do you think that there's a lot there?
I do. Young is a player that I'm actually really excited about. He played, actually, funny enough, for AoE main last year during Proving Grounds, and although things didn't go well for the roster overall, I think Young is definitely a standout player. Even getting to talk to the coaching staff at the time, the people over in that camp, they said Young's like the best mid here. No question about it. And when it comes to mechanics and the kind of versatility this player offers, I am excited for him. Obviously, as the name implies, he is still pretty young and does have a decent ceiling coming through here. And even though he is young, he does have a good amount of experience, funny enough, in the amateur scene overall, or at least that's what it's formally called, because he did, I believe, play for the first iteration or second iteration of 100 Thieves Next.
I think it was the second iteration.
It was the second.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I mean, even before that, he was on orgs like Radiance, Low Key Esports.
Yeah.
Shout out to Low Key. Shout out to
Shout out.
Polar Ace. Like all these crazy old ones. He's been around in the scene for quite a while. It's cool to see Young make the jump up to the semi-pro level and already have a couple of cool plays under his belt. But with that said, they are still 1-3. They're up against Cincinnati Fear, who are 3-1. Split games against TLC. Looking like maybe the provisional team coming into this one is actually favored. Mazel, any hot takes on that before we get into it?
I got a hot take from Prismal himself. He's saying that Fear, I'm going to not mince words a little bit. He says Fear are downtrodden and that they should come out, if they're playing on all fours, they will come out with a 2-0 easy.
Okay, all right, Prismal's confident. Let's see what you have to say in Twitch chat. You can spam whichever team you think will win. Let them know who you're supporting. And with that said, Pick a Band is ready, so I'm going to pass it over to the casters to get us into game number 1.
All right, we are going to go ahead and take that and run with it here as we're getting into our second series of the day. We got Golden Guardians Challengers versus the Cincinnati Fear. And again, duality of starts for both these teams, right? You have the provisional team here coming in and getting a 3-1 start, while the Golden Guardians Challengers have had a bit of a struggle to kick us off. And I think with that confidence we're hearing from Prismal and the backing of Golden Guardians, should see an uptick in their performance, at least here coming into the round out of week number 1. But we do have Rise, Udyr banned away by Golden Guardians, who are on the blue side for this first game, and Cincinnati Fear on the red side banned away the Heimerdinger and the Maokai.
I think this matchup is definitely important, of course, for both of these teams. Again, both these teams are some of the teams that are going to be playing all 3 days of the weekend here in week 1. So it is really important, I think, to end off on a good note for Golden Guardians Challengers to be able to at least, lessen the blow of how tough it's been these last 2 days. And for Cincinnati Fear, they want to keep that pressure up. They have this potential to go 4-1, maybe even 5-1 if things go their way. And if we're going off just, using transitive properties and seeing how they both played against Tender Love and Care, Team Liquid Challengers, Kang has called them, I'm leaning towards Cincinnati Fear just off that.
All right. We'll see how that all works out for you if your bet is placed right. As first pick for Golden Guardians will be the Vi for Rosethorn, actually. So a little bit of a change-up, something he hasn't played yet this split, and it's a lot more of a facilitation role like he has played so far. Obviously, I haven't played the Maokais, the Sejuanis, Wukongs, things like that. We'll see what Cincinnati Fear grab for their first pick on the red side. Has been, at least in this last series we saw, now here, the Varus that has taken priority. And looks like Viego also potentially could join that table. I think I would be interested to see a very skirmish-heavy jungle, especially going into Rosethorn. We said we wanted to see Perry carry. He said himself he wanted to see himself carry. And I would like to see kind of that priority given to the jungle role.
Ooh, so it's actually going to be the Syndra coming through here. And I think that makes sense because Young also plays this champion a lot. Shochi does too. So I think part of it is Vi Syndra, I think, is a really good mid-jungle duo right now. good for setting up fights, and you pair that scatter of the week with the cease and desist. So it's a really nice thing to get for yourself, and it also works in the reverse way where you're dealing with the Vi, where you can keep them away from you with that scatter of the week. Like, hey, stay over there. I don't want you.
I'm feeling a lot more comfortable now that we've gotten Lucian Nami here.
Yeah. Now we're seeing what's normal to us, right?
Come on. Like, I feel like it's home. To be honest, though, like, we didn't get it the first series. I felt weird. Now we're back to it, though. I really, honestly, though, really excited to see how Array and Prismal can execute this bottom lane. Obviously, seeing that is going to be very difficult into the Lulu Varus. I feel like that bottom lane is going to be pretty crucial now that we're getting to the end of the first phase in picks.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw, even though AoE didn't manage to win Game 2 of the last series, we saw what power that Varus has in lane, and we've seen several examples across the weekend, even from Minyu himself. So that lane alone, in isolation, not looking good for Golden Guardians Challengers. But of course, that's the beauty of the Vi pick. I expect a lot of attention from Rosethorn on that bottom side of the map. And as for the rest of the map, still coming through here, you're going to see some bans. We're banning Faisal's Olaf. GG Challengers have passed the test. And we're just banning away other soul... Yeah, that's true. But I think that's the big one. And we're just going to see a couple more solo laners taken out there. I like taking away Ahri away from Young. But I think that matchup is actually a little struggles.
I really want to see if they actually opt into more of that focus to each one of these solo lanes, or if we go for a little bit of that meta spread. We do get the Orianna banned away by Cincinnati Fear, so trying to take that one away from Young. A lot of that setup potential with the Vi on that pick. Still, though, if you're looking for setups, right, you have like the likes of Galio, stuff like that still on the board, and wanting to set up the Lucian, wanting to set up potentially a top laner would be huge for concept. But we do want to get this last ban from GG, and it is Jax. So another big meta pick taken off the board, and it's Poppy as a response here for Perry.
I like that one. And I mean, we talk about Perry and how he subbed for not Golden Guardians, Dignitas last year during Proving Grounds and managed to lead them to a second place finish. I'll tell you what, that was the Poppy Trundle meta we were playing with, and Perry's pretty damn good at Poppy, and it works really well into the Vi. Oh, I'm praying for it, Mazel. But I like this too because you have so much early game potential. You play really well on the champs like Cassante as well, and the Vi, because you try to dash in her steadfast presence. I mean, you're stunned. It's great.
True. We do have the mid pick still on the table for Golden Guardians, but now my eyes are already looking at Faisal and his pick into the Cassante. If we get this will be a huge setup for a young carry game. And I think, honestly, it might be the way, because they definitely do need a carry potential. And honestly, I take the Kassadin as well, right?
Yeah. The reason I was worried about the Akali pick is, it's just another dash, another set of movement abilities. Poppy's getting a lot of value here, and I think there's way too many ways to shut it down. Kassadin, though, I think that one's a little better. Early on, struggle bus, we keep talking about it. That's how it goes. But later on into the game, you have so much value coming through here. And I think the biggest thing is, how is Rosethorn going to play around the fact that his mid gets pushed in? We keep seeing this happen in these matchups where you do pick the Kassadin. And as long as you can keep things a little slow, nice and easy in the mid game, in the early game, you're usually in a good position for him to scale up.
Yeah, and now seeing that Faisal is going to be on the Camille, a lot of side lane pressure, really interesting, because obviously knowing that Cassante was going to go into this is the choice with the counter pick on red side, and I always like to opt into those matchups because that's where a player feels confident, right? It feels comfortable, and I want to see if they can play through this top side, unlock a little bit of the rest of the map, and make Perry's job a little easier. But I feel like bar of execution a little bit easier on Golden Guardians Challengers for the early game, as long as they can play a safety net around mid lane and Young and get themselves to the late game.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Rosethorn is a player who I think when we saw him previously playing on CLG Academy at the time, years ago, he was really good at making aggressive early plays, and the team worked with him to make that possible. And we're starting to see that shift come through here for Golden Guardians Challengers, and I want to see that continue because I think Rosethorn is really good at finding a lot of these early game successes, and on a champ like Vi, especially with the bot lane like Lucian Nami, that's where we need to see that happen this game.
Well, we're going to see it happen. Make sure to spam in chat who you think is going to win this game. Golden Guardians Challenger, GGC, or Fear in the chat for who you think's going to win. Right now, it's Fear, an overwhelming percentage. And, on paper, they might be correct. Because so far, this is the kind of level we've seen from Fear. A lot of great performances already, a lot of scrappiness, if you will, that I feel like has been a big theme with these squads coming in. But now Golden Guardians have a chance to right the ship. They're coming in confident. Prismal saying they're focusing on objective control, especially first Rift Herald is something we need to keep in our back minds for Golden Guardians when they're coming into this game.
For the moment,
it got worse, by the way. Beatdown. It got worse.
Yeah, everybody really believes in Cincinnati Fear, and I think I understand why. This weekend they've been showing us a lot of good performances. I mean, we gotta be real early on when it comes to setting up challenger teams and provisional teams. Cincinnati Fear, they have pretty much been together for quite a while, Mazel. I think you know that. We've been talking about that, and that ability to work together, the synergy that they have, is definitely a big impact for them here. Minui came in an interview yesterday and said how this isn't the ceiling for them, despite that's what some people are saying. But that's why you're seeing some of this early domination here in the first couple days of NACL. They've been playing together for months.
They have. I think that longevity is going to help at least, and maybe see some aggression continue to be the forefront here in the bottom lane. Ray and Prismal not getting the better end of the level 1 trade, as they definitely need that level 2 mark to have a lot of say in this lane, while New and Trevor really having what we expected to kind of happen in this lane. A lot of control, a lot of ability to deal damage, at least earlier on, and something Perry can play off of.
And at the moment, Rosethorn immediately pathing towards the bottom side, but it's looking like not actually going for the gank on the bottom lane. And I like that I like what Minui and Trevor are doing right now. They hard shove those first 2 waves and recall to avoid that gank timer coming through here. So even though there wasn't really much for them to spend on, you're seeing refillable potions come through and a pink ward. You managed to be able to walk away safely from this one, and you give Perry, well, this window right here.
And this is exactly what we set up Perry to have earlier on. He wants control. He wants to be aggressive. He wants to show that Fear can slam Academy teams just as much as they have slammed other teams so far. And I think that's obviously a little bit of early aggression for Perry. He's not going to institute that, but it's a theme to keep in mind for Fear as we move forward.
Now, I mean, as expected, not much available for Golden Guardians Challengers early on, especially with that early play not available for Rosethorn. You look at mid 2, as expected. Young forced to back. We got a nice little bit of trading going on over this top side, but ultimately, I mean, Faisal's actually fallen behind in this one, to be fair.
So in terms of where we're seeing kind of these resources getting delved out, do we expect a lot of the focus from Rosethorn to be bouncing between Young and Concept and kind of leaving Array and Prismal as they hit a double bubble here, put a lot of damage on Minui, and kind of bounce off of that?
No, I really think bot lane needs attention here. We're already seeing the example that we highlighted in Champ Select. This bot lane is good for Minui and Trevor, and that doesn't really change as time goes on. You will have a lot of bursts, as always, with Lucian Nami, but ultimately, the sustain and all the utility that all of Lulu's abilities gives you on top of Varus just being in a better spot makes it that much easier for this bottom lane to continue to dominate. So I'm sure even with that first opportunity being gone, we're going to see Rosethorn move to that bottom side very often, and that's why I'm interested to see how Cincinnati Fear will deal with that. You have Shochi approaching level 6. We'll have plenty of roam timers to make something happen. Speaking of,
That's a bit of a catch out. Trevor has to flash early, so Summoner Spell burned on bottom side. Nice catch out from Golden Guardians. Now we're seeing Fear move towards top side and early game domination. Concept sees what could be coming. Now he sees Shochi as well. Unstoppable will not stop the onslaught that is First Blood. Oh, it's execution! Huge from Fear. And they got bot. Woo! They got bot lane as well. Oh, it's catastrophe for Golden Guardians.
it's all coming up Cincinnati Fear. Everything they could possibly want, and all Golden Guardians get is the first dragon, and it's paltry compared to what they've lost so far. This is what we were looking for. Shochi getting the move, taking advantage of the weakness of Kassadin early, and it ends up working out perfectly. And what did we keep saying? That bot lane in isolation, it feels bad. Rosethorn, you can't be everywhere at once.
I can't. There aren't multiples. There's not a copy machine out here. But incredible early start from Fear, and honestly, props to the early game potential. I like the Golden Guardians response in that Dragon, though, at least trying to focus on what could come to late game scaling for them. Array thinks he's in a 1v1 against Manui. Quickly realizes he's not, and one more auto! Trevor picks up the kill. Now it's 3-0 for Fear, and I just have to say something outright. Coming into this season for Fear, they have decided giving it their all is the name of the game here, and we are seeing it every time they're taking to the Rift beat down.
Right, and I mean, right as what the dive happened on the bottom side of the map, this exact play is what took place. You see Array trying to make something happen here, and I like the attempt, but you end up losing so much as a result. You can see the CS lead starting to grow from Minui. Has 2 assists. Really the only saving grace here that Trevor has picked up both kills.
And I like, for me, for Fear, it just seems like there's a synergy really developing early on in the split. And I think that might come from them all being in a house together, right? Fear has provided enough for them to be able to kind of cohese into a house and have this really team feeling, right? And I think, as I was saying, they wanted to go all out this split. Like, they feel that Fear has made it possible to put them all in the best position to succeed. And there's high hopes for this squad right now. And their 3-0 start kind of backs that up a little bit, Beatdown.
Yeah, and I mean, 3-1 to their record for the weekend just continues to do exactly that. You can see it. These are players, again, we talk about who, some of them, especially this top side, you could argue already should be on challengers teams with LCS organizations, but don't have that opportunity. So instead, they're going to prove themselves here.
Yeah, they have to, in all actuality, because these kinds of moments are the time to put a spotlight on yourself. And I think we've seen across the board in a lot of different capacities this team has been able to do that, right? And we are seeing pretty heavy advantage in bottom side right now, looking at top side as well. Perry just visiting friend Faisal. As Rift Herald coming up, we knew that was a big sticking point for Golden Guardians, and Rosethorn kind of feeling things out here towards the mid lane. Shochi might be in a little bit of trouble. Oh, misses the Vault Breaker, has the cease and desist. Can't miss that one. And Shochi getting so low. Flash comes out, but Young gets the kill.
I'm not sure if that was a miscommunication or something, because I'm pretty sure Rosethorn...
Perry getting a little crazy there. Going in on a 1v2. They were all so low. Can't stick it.
I'm kind of hoping we get a replay of what took place there, because I could have sworn Shochi knew that Rosethorn was there because of the pink ward, but maybe was trying to bait Perry, maybe actually didn't see them. Point is, Young getting a kill now is a great thing. He's been keeping up in CS the whole time despite all the pressure, and now you get a kill, allowing this champion in Kassadin to accelerate further is something you're really happy about as Golden Guardians. You want that row immediately, and that's what... Oh, nope. It was the pathing, so he avoided the ward. Really nicely done then from Rosethorn.
Yeah, that's going to be one that, in review, you're going to be like, man.
Yeah.
Well, back to it now, though, with this at least attempted stabilization from Golden Guardians. We will have another dragon on the table in about a minute. If they can continue stacking that up, gives them that late game scaling insurance policy. As Young be gifted over a blue buff, level 8 now, still trying to scale to as much as possible. But it's going to be a little bit quiet on the front. We see Perry starting to invest in a little bit of vision, a little bit of scouting towards bottom side, and a Scuttle Crab there. But Golden Guardians are quick behind.
Right, now that Young has made it to level 8. Oh, I like this move
the
from
distraction,
Shochi.
though. Oh, Concept did not expect Shochi to be here. Power Unleashed. The all-out gets stuck, though, because you got Hextech ultimatum. And Fear get a kill before the objective starts.
And that's what I like about Camille into the Cassante. That Hextech ultimatum, you ruin a lot of his mobility, his ways to get out of dodge, like he almost did just now. And they are taking advantage of it beautifully. Faisal, you know, as a player who does a lot of work without much resources, without much jungle attention, he usually doesn't need this help to either stay on pace, generate leads, or the like. But now we're seeing what's going to happen if you give this guy attention from your jungler, from your mid laner, and so far a 2-0 Faisal, that's a very scary thing.
Yeah, because side lane is just going to be Faisal Kingdom at this point. You're going to have so much say. And TPs are going to be coming up quickly for the side laners. See if maybe we get any fun plays towards this dragon fight. But it's definitely something on the minds here as Rosethorn trying to hover around Young to some extent. It looks like Crown actually completed for Shochi, having just gotten that back completed there. So pretty big stuff in terms of having strength in the mid lane.
I think that's probably the best move for Shochi. There's a lot of all-in potential coming through here, so that ability to get yourself some extra health, be able to stay alive a little longer, I think is very much needed here. Oh, wait a minute.
They're going in 3v2. Now it's a 4v3. Fear in a little bit of trouble. They get one kill onto Rosethorn. It might be traded, though. The bubble flashed out of Trevor. Oh, Perry tries to get the kill onto the blast code to knock Young away. They're under tower now, though, and Perry does not survive. A double kill for Array. And Golden Guardians have stabilized.
Much needed stabilization coming through here. And I mean, the double kill for Array has got to be the best feeling after what's been going on in the early laning phase. You're undoing a lot of what Minui and Trevor were able to do on that bottom side. And it's off some quick thinking from Rosethorn. And you're going to see it. The walk up towards the river as the team tries to join Perry, who says, hey, Rosethorn is here. Let's deal with this. Get him. He's throwing. But immediately Rosethorn says, oh, no problem. Come here, Minui. I want to talk.
Yeah, talk they did. Might have been a little bit one-sided. But in the end, a lot traded back and forth, honestly. The flash from Trevor was huge. Perry trying to get the quick little play there, but can't do it onto Young. I think Young starting to be active with Array getting some of the kills is best case scenario for Golden Guardian.
That's right. And at least the Rift Herald of Perry will be able to get some gold to your mid and jungle in response. You are still overall ahead. A lot of this lead certainly on the top side of the map over there for Faisal, but we're seeing Golden Guardians answer back. And because of all this pressure they've got on the bottom side off that play, yeah, Faisal is continuously chipping away at this tower, but on the bottom side, you get to continue playing towards your Dragon Soul win con.
We're gonna see, as long as they can stack that one up, I think they'll have a lot to say in the late game, obviously with Young scaling, concept scaling as well. And the facilitation that Rosethorn will have, but a little bit slow on the Dragon take here. It means that topside response from Fear will be it here. Concept just TP'd up there. Perry just going to be stealing away some of this jungle. Mid lane might be the next collapse here as Rosethorn on his way.
Very possible. Shochi does have flash. Should have the scatter of the week available. So I think you're just going to be happy with the dragon and walking away. Perry will take some jungle camps, be able to walk away from that one, but this is all right, honestly, all things considered. Golden Guardians have stabilized in some aspects. Top lane is the biggest problem, but we've seen in previous games that Cassante is a champion where, unless locked down by Faisal with that Hextech ultimatum, he's going to be able to do a lot of work to the backline of Cincinnati Fear. That's something Faisal has to be aware of going into these team fights.
Rosethorn on his way up here now. Faisal will run into him. Has the hook shot to get out. Just tanking a lot of the shots here. Does have the cease and desist used on him. I think Faisal at this point just realizes his life is for ire. Maybe actually getting out. Rosethorn was a little bit scared. Here comes Shochi. They butted up time. Oh my god! What? That's not allowed. That's just dirty. That's just
what I'm talking about. He manages to play his life, and it's brutal because Concept, I mean, is kind of behind at this point. You have the healing from Grasp, the healing from Divine Sunderer, and the Steel Caps. It's enough. And Faisal, of course, dodging key damage from the Hextech Ultimatum. Overall, very well played. It means that the play doesn't end up working out. Prismal, though.
I don't know if Prismal has the same moves. Okay. The scout of the week doesn't connect. They'll play it on the edge here, though. Love it. They try to bait them in as the rest of Golden Guardians are on their way. Rift Herald is now on the docket if Fear want to collapse this. They have 4 members up here. with Faisal having to go down bot side probably to try to respond, but it should be an objective claimed or Fear.
Yeah, you end up losing a little bit making Faisal wait as long as he did, but I think ultimately it's worth it because, one, there is no cease and desist for Rosethorn, so it means this fight is going to be a lot harder for Golden Guardians, and if you maintain that presence, it means that they're even less likely to be able to do it, and that's why I like this move immediately from Golden Guardians. They say, all right, we can't fight this Herald, but guess what? First turret gold our way.
Blank though, Faisal and the rest of Fear just do some dirty damage there in the end. I honestly thought Rosethorn was going to be able to take that up a little bit longer. They got the tower, but they lost Prismal in the end. Also, they got the bottom side tower, so a little bit back in those categories. We'll see if Fear can respond with their own.
That's what I mean. It's a at what cost is the question I'm kind of asking myself on both ends, because yeah, you managed to punish that extension to take the mid-tier 1 for Golden Guardians, but on the other end, Young is having a good time right now in the side lane. He is 3 stacks of his Rod of Ages and is building very quickly towards that that Archangel Staff. And I mean, being able to get all that extra gold from taking the turret, I think is such a huge deal too, because he's past level 11 and is just getting closer and closer to where this champion is a nightmare, reminding everyone why he's banned so often.
I would say so. Honestly, it's been interesting to see how the meta develops so far, and especially after this game. I think there's going to be some priority bans shifting. Maybe. As we go forward, but we'll see how the rest of the game pans out. I mean, a 3-0 Faisal and Camille is something to be a bit worried about, as we've said multiple times. But we get into this mid-game. Again, this is somewhere where Golden Guardians wanted to put a focus on, at least Prismal did, in increasing his capacity for leadership and play calling. It needed to come around the mid-game, around the Rift Heralds, which we haven't seen necessarily go to plan. They at least were able to contest, but now we want to see what Prismal is going to be leading the team to do next.
On Cincinnati Fear side, they're going to be dropping that Rift Herald on that bottom side. Going to be able to push that bottom wave very deeply, and on top of having control mid, this bottom side jungle basically entirely belongs to them.
See, so much CC onto Concept, and he's just gone. That's the Chains of Corruption with everything backing him up. Shochi took the bottom side tower, has the Rift Herald potentially charge onto a second as well, and the advantages just keep piling up for Fear. I mean, they're 4,000 gold in the lead. Now they'll find another tower, and that's a side lane tier 2, so even more gold.
And it's just brutal.
Oh my god, it's gonna get another charge!
Yep. Yeah, that extra charge comes through, and again, it's just, there was a really nice move from Perry to, I mean, take advantage and honestly punish that pathing from Concept, because realistically, you have that bot turret gone, you see the Rift Herald, you know that with mid pushed in, you have no control over your bottom side jungle. You can't actually walk that way, and it ends up being a perfect catch out, because that means no one can answer Shochi.
Yeah.
That punish just gets them so much more across the map. Like at first,
oh no, they've got a flank here. The tidal wave's gonna be big. Golden Guardians have regrouped and reconnected, so they feel confident to move forward. You got the Vault Breaker charged up and ready to go, but Rosethorn pulls back. Fear are confident and comfortable in this position, and Perry will start up the dragon.
Yeah, this denies the soul point coming through here. However, Golden Guardians, they have a lot of the tools to go for a fight if they want to.
They want that smoke. Oh, sword! He got it! It's the third dragon, but it's Fear that are wanted to take the fight. Young is struggling to get into the fight, though. All out from Concept brings in Shochi, but Fear, triple knockback, doesn't delay the inevitable as Concept falls to a double kill. To the mid laner, Fear and Prismal will be eviscerated.
It was a great steal from Rosethorn, but I may need to hold that thought. Young could get... Oh, yeah, he's stacking up the Rift Walk. He wants some smoke in the mid lane. Oh, I lied. I take it back. So, we're going to look at the replay here. The thing is with Dragon Fights, especially when you're behind like this, Golden Guardians and teams in general have a decision to make. Do we steal or do we fight? The thing is, you really should only pick one, because Rosethorn going for the steal doesn't put him in the best position to be able to do anything. He doesn't even have the ult to work with and gets blown up instantly. Isn't able to have any impact on the fight. And because the rest of the team committed, look at what happens. Yeah, you get the dragon. Yeah, you get your soul point. But you give away so much gold as a result. And Perry, that ult was beautiful. I see you.
I see you, Perry. But honestly, good attempt from Concept. You can see the concept of the Cassante there. Huh? You like what I did there? Too many of those and we might lose viewers. But we do get the Cassante kind of in essence there, but the execution from Fear. Yes, they lose the dragon. They will be forced to fight on the next one unless they want to try to trade for Baron, something along those lines. But it is about the fights afterwards and the target selection, right? The big thing coming here for Fear and echoed across multiple members is they just want to play as a team. They don't care if it's a bad fight, right? They want to play as a team.
And I'll tell you what, we're talking about teams. Look at the gold difference that we just saw. The only one. Oh, hold that thought.
Oh, Array tries to flash, but it's too late. He's been left out, maybe. He's got a lot of support for Rosethorn, but the Chains of Corruption comes through as well. Concept is there. Flash over the wall, but he dies anyways. Rosethorn's down. Array goes back in, but the Keeper's verdict. Huge to separate and take down Prismal. It looks so good, and then it doesn't. For Golden Guardians, they might be waiting here. They are.
Yeah, they are.
They try to catch out Young, but a lot of damage done. Shochi trying to separate Golden Guardians away from this Baron. They don't have a jungler, but they have Concept and Young. I think it might be a little difficult here as
they gotta
Barry
fight.
try to push out Concept.
This is tough. Array is here. He is low, but they're taking a lot of damage.
Going in. Look how much damage he's doing. No, Young. He goes golden. He's trying to. He goes another kill.
He gets another.
That's not enough. No, it's double, and it's still all out. Cassante. Concept is taking on Perry, but Perry, with the help of the Baron, will be just enough to even the odds as Rosethorn makes his re-debut and hunts down the opposing jungler. One more kill and an ace for Golden Guardian.
And what an insane comeback. Cincinnati Fear. They hesitate. They try to hedge Mazel. They think they can do both. But Golden Guardians reminds them you can't have your cake and eat it too. And for that, they lose everything. Yes, the objective bounties are up, but an ace has gone through. The Baron is going over to Golden Guardians, and Young on this Kassadin goes big and picks up so much gold.
They're going
in the
for it.
process.
They're fighting. They want it. Shochi is here, doesn't get the crown popped. Array is down. They get the Baron. They will give over 2 kills, though, in the end, and that's 2 less Baron buffs.
Instantly worth. Don't even have to think about it there. Yeah, it couldn't steal the Baron. So Golden Guardians, they managed to make the successful play coming through here, and this could be the start of a comeback. We're going to see it here. You're taking too much damage from Baron, and you're too grouped up out of Fear. What does that mean? Rift Walk, AoE damage. Young goes in with the Rift Walk flash.
Damage.
It's unbelievable coming through here, and he picks up 2 shutdowns before he loses his life. Excellent call from Golden Guardians overall, punishing a greedy play from Cincinnati Fear.
Honestly, incredible stuff. Just the confidence to move into that play, right? Like we were setting before, we're like, oh, yeah, maybe they just let this one go. No, they fought for it. Yeah. And yes, in the end, they fight, and then it's just a carousel back and forth. But the initial play and getting Young that gold, man. He has got 1 death, but he has his 3rd item. And especially now as we're getting to that level 16 mark for Young, he's going to be popping off, and we see that continue here. Perry doesn't really have anything to deal with him. He's just chunking him down. Everything's stacking up for Young.
Everything's looking really good, and it's tough now. Before, Infernal Soul Point didn't seem like a big deal for Golden Guardians, but after a miraculous play, now Infernal Soul is something Fear cannot let go. That could be the final key to allow this comeback for Golden Guardians. So they have to go through. Keeper's Verdict available for Perry. That's the big cooldown.
Oh, Young is caught here with Hexacle Mame. Tidal Wave across. Keeper's Verdict gets the 1, but is it going to be enough? Double bubble, and you're in trouble. Golden Guardians, they might be getting run down here. Concept bursted, all out. It's enough to get him 1 kill, but they get traded immediately back. Rosethorn, he's traded down by Perry here. Immediately flashed to get that kill secured, and back onto the dragon goes Fear.
Look at Young. He's backing. He has teleport. He lived. That's the biggest thing here. He can come back and make something happen. No ults available for Array and Prismal, but they want the fight after Mazel. That's what they're looking for.
Young stacking it up. Dragon is down, but here comes what matters. Young goes in initially, baiting out the Scatter the Weak. Array goes forward with the dash. Young trying to chase down Perry here. He goes forward, gets knocked back though. Again, double bubble, and it's enough. They're taking him out. Array, it's a triple. It's not a quadra, but he'll take the 4 and the ace for Golden Guardians.
And what a comeback! It's just one thing after another, Mazel. Golden Guardians Challengers have found themselves back into the game. This Kassadin is online. He's here to play, and Young does not mess around.
It's like finding Easter eggs in an earlier season, and now you're at the season finale, because we said they needed the Dragons to help their stacking. They needed to stabilize to get to the late game, and here we are. Kassadin online, flanks online, and the gameplay is banger.
And this is what we were talking about. Young, that player who can play several archetypes, but of course the most exciting one is the carry. Look at him. Weave in and out, do all the damage. Yeah, he falls, but he ends up doing so much in the meantime. And I take it back. He doesn't even die in the process here. He's online. He's level 16, and he is a nightmare for Cincinnati Fear.
We're getting to 4th item completion for Array. We have the team comp to set up Young and Array in these team fights, and a lot of the, obviously, resources going to the correct carriers, right? You see where the gold is dumped for Golden Guardians, 12,000 on both their respective carries, but now the side lane is at question as Perry and Faisal take a 2v2 into a 2v3 here. TP's coming in now as well from Fear. The Keeper's Verdict will separate, though. Shochi just coming up to back the rest of the team up. Gotta be careful for Manui in transition, but here comes Golden Guardians.
And the thing you got to understand is that Golden Guardians, it says they're behind 3K gold. Yes, that is technically true. Most of it, though, is on Faisal. Everywhere else across the map, Rollsthorn, Young, Array, Prismal, they all have leads, and they are all so fed at the moment here. And K'Sante, even from behind, is still useful. Concept can still contribute. So this next fight is likely going to be around the dragon. At this point, Fear, you don't want to be forcing anything. You can't walk into your jungle right now. So we have to watch this dragon timer. At this point, it's just going to be trying to protect this bottom turret. Realistically, I don't know if you force this.
Bubble will miss on Manui. So question then, as we're getting to these tense moments, for Fear, how do you set up these fights? Because you're getting to a point where you feel like there's just a wall coming at you. It's an inevitable fate. But how do you try and pilot this? You just try and catch out Young in every possible way?
There's two things you're looking at here. Like, one, Perry's done this before. He has the Keeper's Verdict, and he's taken Young out of the picture. That is a good way, but it's difficult on someone as elusive as Kassadin. The other way is looking at Faisal. Camille, we know this champion to be really good in team fights. You can hook shot over walls. You can get these flank angles. If you take out someone like Array, Prismal, anybody right away before any key abilities can be used, you can get yourself the advantage you're looking for. But it's so hard getting pushed further and further back on your side of the map for Fear. It makes it more difficult for them to be able to set up vision in a lot of these crucial places. Look at the bottom side jungle. Pinks all over the place. And with Dragon in a minute 30, it's so scary to have to face check Golden Guardians.
I mean, you just got to try to run in there and clear some of his vision down. 4 control wards around this bottom side river here, but now we get the setup around the Baron. As we have Fear moving in, they'll catch out a couple members of Golden Guardians as they were trying to get some setup around here. Concept wants to go in. They're going all the way in with Young on the flank. They might just get it. That's a big Keeper's Verdict onto Young, though. He's out of the fight. This is the moment for Fear to take a front to back, but no!
But he's back!
Immediately! Their immediate hope is gone. Young goes golden. He's on to Shochi now. You got to watch the back for Faisal, though. This might be a lot of trouble. No, it's not. Immediately slamming the door is Young and the rest of Golden Guardians. That's Faisal going back in, trying to get something.
GA.
But his Golden Guardian will not help him, as no GA will either. And that's an immediate clean ace, except for Concept, and Golden Guardians will go on to the Baron.
And this is it. Golden Guardians have basically completed the arc, Mazel. They have made the comeback that they needed, because now they're ahead in gold, turrets going down, Baron in their hands, and there's only one other thing left for the Mazel, their prize, the Infernal Soul, and everything else they will need to be able to close out this game. What an insane return coming through from Golden Guardians Challengers.
There's one more fight on the table for Fear. But it is a fight they are not looking forward to. As level 18 for Young, 4th item with the Rabadons completed. So much damage and so much focus on this young mid laner for Golden Guardians Challengers. As Fear are the first ones here. Go ahead and pull the dragon.
Rosethorn
Golden
is
Guardians
stolen.
right on their tail.
Rose's already stolen these before. You don't got to be too comfortable about it. We have to look at parry. It's that keeper's verdict to get the jungler out of the way to secure yourself a
Dragon
smite.
reset. Oh.
We get
The silence just stopped the keeper.
Oh, they got it.
Oh, it's Shochi that stops the soul take. We'll see Fear, though, immediately back away. They might be in a little bit of fear themselves.
They need to live.
As that's already moving forward. The rest of Golden Guardians, they claim parry. Fear get out with 3 bodies, and they delayed the Dragon Soul.
That is the best you could have hoped for Fear, Mazel. They managed to steal the dragon. Props to Shochi for being able to make that happen, and they walk away mostly intact. They lose 2 members, but it's worth. You managed to deny the soul, and because of Faisal pushing out the bottom wave a bit, and where this mid wave is, no immediate damage to their base, but now with the waves coming, they are knocking. And remember, Golden Guardians still have that Baron.
They ain't knocking, they're bulldozing. They already cleared down 2 towers. They're on to the inhibs now as well. They've got a wave pushing in topside too, so this will be lasting damage. Looks like Golden Guardians want to back out after claiming these structures and kind of reset on the map, but that is going to be a lot of super minions in the base for Fear to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like the damage has been done, Mazel. Fear's base, open, mid, and bot are going to have supers for the next 5 minutes, and what crucial objective is coming sooner than that? It's the dragon. Another miracle steal needs to happen for Fear if they want to make this a win. But it just gets harder and harder. We keep seeing what Young is able to do. Now, Aiden... Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a little bit of issues happening here as Perry gets caught out, left out to dry. Young claims another kill, 9 and 1. And it should be just that. I would say that one more fight may exist for Fear under this tower, but Concept taking a lot of that damage. He does go down, and Fear, they're just fighting with another member of their team, but it might not even matter because Young is here to clean them out, Array is here to clean them out, and Golden Guardians will slam home their win conditions for game number 1.
And what a tremendous comeback coming through from Golden Guardians. This early game looked like it wasn't going to go their way, and they weren't going to make it happen in game 1, but Young scaled up. They made the right plays, and Fear are going to have to go back to the drawing board.
And what a setup for the rest of the team. A lot of support going to both mid and bot, but those KDAs are going to speak for themselves for both of them, and honestly, incredible stuff. That is it for our first game of the second series today. We're going to send it to a little break, and we'll be right back with a halftime show.